Starting and running a business is hard, but you don't have to do it alone. Whether you're an established business owner or thinking about starting a side hustle to earn extra income, I am here to teach you how to show up as your unfiltered self, level up your business, and thrive as a mompreneur. Let's embrace the chaos and start enjoying the journey together. I'm Amy Traw, and you're listening to the Motivated Mompreneur Podcast. Welcome back in, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. We have a special guest with us. I have Sarah Jansel with me today, all the way from Canada. I was just telling her I'm so excited. She's my first international guest. So this is a big day for me too. So welcome in, Sarah. Thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, I'm so excited to be your first international guest. That's amazing.
Yes, I will forever remember this day. Definitely. So Sarah, tell us a little bit more about yourself and your business.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been doing what I do now for about 2 years, specifically at Jansel Co, which is my company where we help clients build, brand, and grow awesome websites and all the things that go along with that. But prior to that, I actually have like a 20 plus year, obviously I was very young. We'll say that 20 plus years in corporate. So I worked for banks, consulting firms, all kinds of large Fortune 500 companies, tech companies, and was really in the stream of business, HR, and operations. So I've been helping people build businesses, grow them, do things for a really long time. But it wasn't until about 2018 when I had kind of been at that game for a bit and was in my VP role. Actually, it's a company in the States, Carfax, that I was working for in Canada. And just decided that, I think I'd kind of knew throughout the years, to be honest, but there was a point in time and a day when I kind of decided that I needed to do something different and more creative. And that wasn't all there was going to be for me. So I actually opened my own Shopify store and boutique where I was bringing everything up to Canada from California. We needed some California vibes here for sure. And ran that for a few years and figured out how to make that successful. And it was like an amazing business and was going to scale that when the pandemic hit. And I realized I had hired a coach to help me scale that business even beyond. And she was like, Sarah, my goodness, there's so many people that need your skills right now and helping them get online. Would you actually take on some of my clients? And that was kind of the beginning of where we're at now, serving as many clients as we do and helping them really sell their products and services online and look good doing it.
Yes, because it can be so overwhelming. You have this amazing product, but then it's like, all right, how in the world do I get it out into the world so that people actually know it exists so that they can buy the product? And that can be very, very overwhelming. And I love how you touched upon how you just kind of know when you get to that point in your career. You just start, I don't know, you just feel out of sorts and So the fact that you stopped and analyzed, okay, wait a minute, this is something I need to explore, and to have that leap, then that's incredible. So what type of challenges have you come across in trying to build this business when you were making that pivot from, okay, I have my own successful business, but it's like, okay, I know I want to start coaching people. I want to start helping people to build theirs and thrive. What type of challenges did you come across or overcome?
Yeah. So when I decided to do my own thing, it was kind of drawing a line in the sand. I feel like I'd thought about what that could look like over the years, just always pushed it off, right? We tend to do, oh, that's crazy. So when I did decide to do it, I mean, with as much experience that I had, from my corporate career, being an entrepreneur and building a website and figuring out how to source product and all of the things that come with that, whether you make it or you curate it or whatever you do, it is overwhelming. So I think you hit the nail on the head with that. So I very quickly started to realize, I tell everybody Google and YouTube was the name of the game for me, but it took me a really long time to figure all that stuff out. And there were quite a few times when I thought I might actually just decide not to do this because it's really hard, right? So it's all the things you kind of go through. And that was kind of the premise for me when I started coaching. I actually started the first year we were in business, I did group coaching and I was showing people how to do what I did like most entrepreneurs do.
Hmm.
It's
Yeah.
like, I wish that there was a me when
Right.
I started. And so that was really amazing. But then through the year, I started to realize, and we were actually doing done for you services behind the scenes as well, that like actually people don't really have a lot of time. And what they do need, as much as they need to be empowered to run their businesses, especially when you're starting out and like know how to do things, I'm like, we can train you in an hour on everything you need to know. What you actually need help with is all the heavy lifting. And
Right.
so we kind of did a full pivot. Even though we were doing that behind the scenes, we weren't communicating that up front. So 2022 has been all about all of the amazing brands that we've been supporting. And I just find it's a much better experience because people are still empowered to know how to run their business, but they're not sitting there like spending months on end trying to figure out how to pull it all together, especially
Right.
if it's not a skill. Like I might love to do that and feel like creative is the name of the game, but not everybody does. They're really good at what they do. So we try to give them that time back so they can focus on
Right.
that.
And that's
Yeah.
absolutely invaluable, that gift of time where you can be like, okay, let me just hand this over to you. And that's hard to do. It is
Yeah.
hard to ask for help because we're so used to doing things on our own. We try and get scrappy, but if you think about time is
Yes.
money, if you're spending
100%.
hours on end trying to create the back end of your business so that you can actually be successful while you're, especially as a maker. I mean, the
Mhm.
amount of time that you're saving people is incredible. And,
Absolutely.
but it's hard. It's hard to say those three words, I need help. I still struggle with that myself. And like you said, Google and YouTube, they're wonderful resources, but it's time consuming. And
It's time
to,
consuming.
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I love that you touched upon that. So tell us a little bit more about how we can integrate email marketing into our businesses. So in an online space, it's so important to have an email list. Why? Why does that even matter? Why, if you have this beautiful website, this beautiful Shopify site, why should we even have an email list?
Oh my gosh, I love this. I'm going to get on my email soapbox. I'm like, so
Please
many
do.
reasons.
Yes.
So many reasons. So, a lot of people think, like, well, wait a minute, like, email is dead. Isn't text like the new thing or, social media, all these things. And I would say, you want to definitely think about having a bit more of a holistic or diversified approach to like, you might want to step into a lot of those things if that's where your consumer is. Right. But
Mhm.
email marketing, for sure, there's so many good reasons for that. And it really comes down to a couple things. The first thing I would say is the community that you need to build and foster. And while you can build and foster community on social, you not everybody is actually seeing your stuff. So even if you had 500 people, 1,000, 10,000 people following you, there's a rule out there. It's something like less than 3% of people will actually see and consume your content, and a lot of that is just due to algorithm and are they actually following you and all of that stuff. So your reach isn't that great, and even with a reach of certain people, that percent, it's not a guarantee that everybody's actually getting, consuming, and seeing all of that information all the time. And I don't know about you, but there's been a couple of times even this year that Instagram's just been finicky or it's totally out. And like, I mean, I do a lot of my marketing on that platform as well, but how else would you communicate with somebody if a
Right.
platform like that went down? Yeah.
Exactly. Wasn't it this
Yeah.
past spring where was it Facebook
Yes.
that went down or one of the platforms went down and people were like
Yes.
panicked, like absolutely
100%.
like, what do we do? How do we communicate? What's happening? It was like
Yeah.
hysteria. So
It's
yeah.
serious. Yeah. So I feel like having a space where you can actually still connect with people and you actually kind of own that list and you can cater your messages and you can be sure that it's going to land in an inbox. If you have 300 people are going to get it, whether they read it or not, is obviously there's the
Right,
whole,
right.
quality of that content. But that's a really big component. And I would say the other piece to the email marketing is that, you want to actually be fostering and building relationships with people and being personal and giving them the information that they need that they might not otherwise get from another platform. So I always say like email and your business online, they need to definitely go hand in hand.
For
Yeah.
sure. And I love how you talked about how you own your email list. We like to think
Mhm.
about, okay, I've got all these followers on Instagram or Facebook or whatever platform you're using. you don't actually own those. You don't own that content. You're putting the content out there, but
That's
it
right.
could vanish tomorrow.
It could.
So,
Yep.
yeah, and that's scary when you think about how
It
much time and
is.
energy and, this, that, and the other we're pouring into this, and to have it vanish. Oh, it just kind
I
of like
know.
makes my heart go pitter patter. So, yes,
Yeah.
email lists are so important. And there are plenty
Yes.
of there's free platforms out there. So even if you don't have the world's biggest budget, there's ways to start. There's ways
Absolutely.
to build it up and create it into something fabulous where you have that secure safety net of, okay, I know that, and they're warm leads too. It's not
Hmm.
just, somebody swiping by quickly on social media. It's people that actually show some sort of interest, because typically to get people on our list, there's an opt in. So, do you have
Yeah.
any advice as far as like lead magnets go, or what's just an easy way to start establishing an email list? So, we know we need one. What's an easy way to jump into it?
Yeah, I would say any of the content that you're thinking about sharing with people about whatever it is that you do, whether it's on socials or your email, or you want to actually package that up into some sort of document, I would say just think about something that's going to add value to the consumer about whatever your product or service is that you're trying to sell, that it leads back to that. So maybe you're a fashion brand and you want to give people a guide on like 10 ways to style your jean jacket, or,
Right.
you're a supplement company and you want people to take a quiz, because they can opt into a quiz or something like that, which is actually really popular and works really well, by the way, about like which supplements are right for you or something like that. I would say just keep it fun, just keep it light. Make sure it's something that people can actually give their email to you so that they get this amazing free thing. Then they're on your list and you can start to, engage them and foster those relationships with people. And that there's a clear call to action in whatever that freebie is. So, if you do the quiz about what supplements are right for you, then, how do they actually purchase those supplements, or where do they find more information, or where should they go next? So I think it's just the key is to have a little bit of fun with it, keep it fresh and light, simple,
Yes.
and
Oh,
make sure they can buy. Yeah.
yes, I used to overcomplicate everything, but with different platforms out there, like even Canva, you can create
Hmm.
beautiful PDF shareable
Absolutely.
resources and guides and all sorts of value to share with your community so easily. And just create an automation and boom, it's getting people on your email list without all the behind the scenes legwork. Yes, you have to put the time in to set that up, but once that's there, hey, that just funnels people right in, and you're sharing the value. In exchange
Yes.
for the value, you're getting those email addresses. But it's so important, like you said, the call to action, because that's something,
Yeah.
I even have to remind myself to do. Like, okay, yeah, I have to tell people, here's where you find me, or here's what I want you to do. And to not overcomplicate that call to action too. I think sometimes we get stuck in thinking, okay, I want my customer to do XYZ, an LMNOP. And it's like, no, let's, one thing, one thing,
Yes.
and let's focus on that.
Yeah.
That's
I agree.
amazing. Yes. So, what led you to start your business in the first place? So, how did you know, okay, I'm just feeling kind of disjointed here. I'm things aren't feeling right. What was that final push that was like, okay, I'm ready to do it. I'm ready to start my own business. Was there one event, or was it just gradually over time?
It's kind of a mix, if I'm being
Yeah.
honest. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like, there was a point in time where I kind of had to choose. Like, I was always into fashion. I actually closet did like modeling when I was younger. There would be business magazines that would come to my corporate office and I would scoop them up because I'd be like, oh, shoot, I'm actually in that one. So there was actually some things I was doing that I just really loved to do, but kind of grew up in a world where I was like told that you're not going to be a starving artist, or you're not going to make enough money kind of doing like this thing you want to do. Let's be practical about this. Let's take the safe route. And so there was a point when I chose, and I loved what I did. I loved my corporate career. I climbed the ladder. I was a VP in my last role. Like, I certainly wasn't, an unhappy camper. I did cool work. I was really selective perspective about jobs I took over the years, being like having a creative aspect. Like I was able to grow something, do something, create something. So there was always like that spin I could put on things. So I feel like throughout the years that was fairly intentional, but I would say like the conversations I would have when I'd get home with my husband over a glass of wine or on a vacation would always be like, well, what if I decided to do X, or what about this idea? And then I'd very quickly kind of like skirt that off, with that same thing in mind. Like, is that even possible? Am I ever going to like, be happy doing that, earn an income, all the things? And there was a point in time when we were on a vacation and I had realized like I got to that level that I wanted to kind of be at. And I was like, this is still kind of the same thing. And like, I just knew there was something more. So I literally said to my husband, we were in Dominican on the beach. And I'm like, when we get home, I'm just going to pick a name and register a business number. And I'm just going to do this thing. And I did it as a side hustle for a couple of years, which gave me some confidence. And it wasn't until kind of the pandemic hit and I realized like, oh, wait a minute, like people also need this. And so I can do the fashion thing and help people, and kind of use that as an example that it sort of made me feel like, yep, I'm going to do this. So it was still scary through the process, of
Sure,
course.
it's scary as heck.
Yeah. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to make a bet on me. Like, I've done all these things to this point. Like, why do I suddenly feel like a newborn, or somebody who's like not capable of doing this? Like, I'll figure it out. So I took a risk, and, it was kind of just that last, like, I kind of saw that it was just going to be more of the same. And I was like, I just don't think I'm going to sign up for that. Like, I just think life's too short and there's more to this than that for me. So that was kind of the last straw.
That's awesome. No, but it's so inspiring because just doing it scared. Everything about being an entrepreneur can be scary as
Absolutely.
hell, it's like every
Mm-hmm.
day you're just like, is this real life? Is this happening? Am I really like helping these people? Am I really doing something that I enjoy and get paid for?
Yes,
Some of that imposter syndrome starts to kick in, but yeah, it is reality.
it
But
is.
the services that you offer are so needed because there are so many people that, yeah, you make a really good product, but how do we get it out there? I just
Yeah.
love what you're doing. Love, love, love it. So, Sarah, tell us more about where people can find you. Where are you on social? How can we get in touch?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say the biggest place I hang out, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Insta, and all the places, but Instagram for sure. So I'm at Sarah Jansel, and obviously we have links to Jansel and Co, which is my website, and any of the freebies that we're offering. We actually have a new one that's going to be coming out about the 3 things every awesome website needs, because I'm like, that's just like a no-brainer for us. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, come on, check it out, DM me, drop me a line if you heard this, and I'd be happy to connect with you.
Oh my gosh. Awesome information. Sarah, thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget, tickets are now on sale for Confidence Sells. Visit themomsonamission.com for more information. We'll see you next time.